Taiwan and the self-declared state of Somaliland have agreed to set up representative offices in each other's capitals. Taiwan's foreign ministry made the announcement on Wednesday, saying that bilateral talks began last November before the deal was finalized in February.
Foreign Minister Joseph Wu said the two offices would be called the Taiwan Representative Office and the Somaliland Representative Office.
那因为我们跟他们不是建立正式的邦交的关系
We are not establishing formal diplomatic ties with them, so we won't be using ROC in the name. No party had put pressure on us. Both sides agreed that this kind of relationship based on official representation would be the most mutually beneficial.
Located in East Africa, Somaliland obtained independence from the United Kingdom in May 1960. The British government had intended for the territory to unite with the Trust Territory of Somaliland, which was scheduled to gain independence from Italy later that year. The two territories did join to form the Somali Republic, but a civil war broke out in 1999. That year, 5 local authorities unilaterally declared independence for Somalia and established the Republic of Somaliland. The self-declared status had its own democratically elected government, but its independence is not recognized by any country in the world.
They'd signed an agreement to set up representative offices in one another's capitals. But what does this mean in real terms? Do Somaliland and Taiwan now recognize each other, as some have suggested? In this video, I'm going to take a look at the announcement and what lies behind it. As I'll show, it raises some interesting questions about the exact relationship that now exists between Taiwan and Somaliland. But, as I'll also explain, the precise nature of their new ties is rather less important than the tangible benefits that they can potentially deliver to each other. Hello, my name is James Kerr-Lindsay. Welcome to Independent Thinking, a channel dedicated to international relations, independence, statehood, and the origins of countries. The subject of how unrecognised or partially recognised countries, often called de facto states, interact with each other is not a topic that tends to generate a lot of international interest. However, just occasionally, it will spark wider attention. The announcement that the Republic of Somaliland and the Republic of China, better known as Taiwan, two of the most prominent de facto states, had signed a diplomatic agreement that included the establishment of representative offices in one another's capitals, was just one such occasion. It received considerable international coverage. But for all the attention it was given, what was perhaps less clear was what the agreement actually meant in real terms. By way of a brief background, the Republic of Somaliland emerged from what was formerly British Somaliland. This became an independent state on the 26th of June 1960 and was promptly recognised by over 30 countries. However, a mere 5 days later, on the 1st of July 1960, it united with Italian Somaliland to create the Somali Republic. While the relationship soon broke down, for the next 30 years Somaliland remained within the Union. However, in 1991, as Somalia descended into civil war, Somaliland reclaimed its independence. Since then, it's not been recognised by any UN members, despite a 2005 African Union report recommending that it be accepted as a sovereign and independent state. Nevertheless, Somaliland maintains strong relations with a number of countries, including the United Kingdom, and has established a series of liaison offices in over a dozen capitals. For its part, the Republic of China governed mainland China until it was overthrown by communist forces at the end of the 1940s, at which point it relocated to the island of Taiwan. In the years that followed, countries began to switch their support to the People's Republic of China, and in 1971, Taiwan lost its place as the Chinese representative at the United Nations. Today, just 14 of the UN's 193 members continue to recognise Taiwan as the legitimate government of China. However, many countries, including the United States, Britain, Japan and many EU members, still maintain extensive economic and political links with Taiwan and have diplomatic offices in Taipei, the capital of Taiwan. Notwithstanding their very different histories and their rather different status in international politics, Somaliland and Taiwan are nevertheless now widely regarded as two of the most prominent de facto states. This largely explains the interest in the story of what seems to be their new relationship. But it's important to note that despite this latest announcement, Taiwan and Somaliland have in fact had relations of one sort or another for over a decade now, covering areas such as maritime security, education and healthcare. To this extent, the announcement is certainly not something that came entirely out of the blue. Instead, what made it so newsworthy was the way in which it appeared to substantially upgrade the relationship between the two. The announcement itself came in a series of tweets from the two ministries of foreign affairs. Meanwhile, the Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs also posted a press release giving more details about the agreement. Interestingly, the agreement was in fact signed on the 26th of February 2020 when the Foreign Minister of Somaliland visited Taipei. Whatever the reason for the 4-month delay before the announcement of the agreement, the symbolism of making the formal statement on the 1st of July wasn't lost on anyone with more than a passing familiarity of Somaliland. It marked the 60th anniversary of when Somaliland had originally relinquished its independent sovereign statehood and joined the Somali Republic. Leaving aside the symbolism, what was actually agreed? Here things become particularly interesting. Unfortunately, a copy of the agreement isn't available. Instead, we have to go with what the two sides formally announced. The first thing to note is that it isn't really clear if the agreement amounts to recognition. For example, it's very telling that the term recognition is not used in any of the statements. On top of this, it's noticeable that the word country is used rather than state. While country is usually used interchangeably with state in common speech, this isn't the case in formal legal settings. That said, recognition appears to be heavily implied. For example, one of the tweets from the Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs states that a Taiwan representative office will be set up in this independent country on the Horn of Africa. Likewise, the press